Hey y'all, Grandma Rose here. I am just kind of wandering around my garden. It's kind of late afternoon, and I wanted to show you a little bit about what I've been doing in the past couple of weeks. I've been pretty busy, and I've gotten a lot done. So let me give you a little bit of a tour. Number one is I am trying to unwrap my power cord from the dog's leash. So let me show you how I'm doing that. First of all, there's chickens. And if you notice, the chickens are behind a fence. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's funny. Oh, dear. He's a young rooster. Well, she's ruffling her feathers. It looks like he was successful. Okay. Away from that, let me show you what I'm doing. Down here is my power cord, and here is the dog's leash. See that? And it is, I leave it as a tie out out here. It's a mess, but anyway, it's necessary to keep the dog from chasing the chickens. So I'm trying to come out here and get this unwrapped from here so I can put this power cord up. Let's see here. Where is this coming in here? So you get the idea of what I'm doing. Okay, come on. I'll put this down and I'll finish this and I'll show you. Okay. So I've got that. The tie out is separated from this. And for right now, that's where I've got the power cord. I know, it doesn't look pretty, but I've been using it a lot and I just can't put it up every time I use it. Okay, just have a few flowers in here. This was my herb bed last year. And the rosemary's in here, grass coming up in it that I need to get to. Looks like a wild lettuce coming up in here too. I've pulled that up several times and it just keeps coming back. Right in here. But look here. That's stevia. The stevia that came back last year. I mean, I planted a stevia plant last year, and it survived the winter. I am so thrilled. I didn't really expect it to happen. In fact, the last time I was at Lowe's, I asked if they had any stevia plants, and they did not. They did have the pineapple sage, and I got one of those. The chickens had eaten half of it. And over here in this area right here, you see, there's more stuff that's got to be pulled up. Not too bad. It's a plantain. Let's see that. See the plantain. Plantain. But in here, this plant right here is a perennial also. There's some here. Look, that's a weed, I think. Pretty sure. I'll check that and be sure. It may be. It may also be part of this. Look at the leaves. Those leaves are opposite. And these are too. This may be the same thing, so I won't pull that up. But this is Mexican tarragon. So this stuff is wonderful. It's in the marigold family. It's actually a kind of marigold. It blooms in the fall, little yellow flowers, orangey yellow flowers. Not very impressive flowers, but it's a wonderful herb. So that's in here. This plant right here that is not very pretty right now is beautiful in the morning. This is Tradescantia. See this? In the early morning, it's gorgeous. So we just picked it at the wrong time of day. And a little bit more plantain in there and some grass. Some iris. More trees that have to come out. But that's the way it always is. You know, there's always something that has to be done. And it just always has to be done. Just got to keep after it. And I see it right here. Look at this behind this fence. Look at that tree. It's all the way back up at the roof of my house again. Cut that down last year, and it's back. So I've got to get out with my reciprocating saw, cut that down again. It's always something, y'all. It is always something, but that's okay. That's what life is all about. This right in here is a wild phlox. And I don't think I have, let me see. Back in here, right in here. I see one little flower. And the boards that you see here are, I'm in the process, getting ready to do shelving, pantry shelving. So I've got these boards. These are, they're basically going to be one jar wide in an area behind the door where, where there's no room for anything else. So it's going to be just wide enough. This is the width of the molding, so this is how wide these shelves are going to be behind that door. And then over here, you see more wood, and that's going to be the sides of the shelves. I'm going to be able to do like a triangular shelf in the corner, so it's going to come out 12 inches wide. These are 12-inch wide boards. And 6 feet tall, and that's going to be enough. Looks like this one on the top is warping. I need to turn it over, try to remove that warp. And anyway, so this is the project inside. I am getting ready to do pantry shelves that I've needed badly. So the other thing that I've done, look here, let me show you over here. And you see the fence attached to that, the picket fence corner there, the post. And then around here, there's my laundry on the line. And this is going to be the gate. Now, right now, it's leaning this way and leaning that way. So what I'm going to do is tall. So what I'm planning on doing is, I was thinking about using, let me come back to this way to show you. There's my reciprocating saw that I was getting ready to use and decided not to. I was going to put this board up across the top. Let me show you. So measure across the bottom, the width at the bottom, cut the board to that width, and then nail across the top there to pull the two together. And then I will need to do some more bracing in these holes to make it stand up. I did not put it in concrete, and that probably was a mistake. But yeah, live and learn. I may end up redoing them. But I've got, right now I need, after I finish the gate post, then I need to make a gate. Right now the gate is this piece of fencing. And so come all the way around. Not perfect. I needed somebody strong to help me pull it, but I didn't have anybody strong to help me pull it, so it is what it is. Now you see right in here, let's look over the fence. See the rooster? Let's look over the fence and I'll show you what's going on. You see that? This is why I am fencing this area off. The chickens are in here and they're dust bathing right there. I had some cucumbers planted right here and I don't see them. I suspect the cucumbers have gone the way of the chickens, so I'll need to replant those. And looking down in there, there's grapevines, those are wild grapevines. So those are going to grow on this fence. So this area in here was not part of the garden last year. So I have dug up to that corner there, And I still have this much more to do. And it's just hard work, and I can only work for a little while at a time. So this right here is in the process of being dug out, a little bit at a time by me. And this year I'll probably plant flowers in here because that'll be an easy fix. But I may continue because I can still plant some cucumbers and just continue to plant some cucumbers along this fence here. This gate is not a gate. You can see the fence post. Right now this is a pallet, and the pallet is blocking this. And again, the fence is coming around here. Now this area in here is going to be, I think, is where my weed. This area in here is going to be my herb bed. But you see these tall plants you see right here. Can't you see very well through the fence? Look over the fence a little. You see these? That's Monarda. That's bee balm. It's a beautiful red Monarda. And one I see is getting ready to flower. So they're going to be flowering probably next week. I'll show you those next week maybe. And I've got blueberry bushes. There's a blueberry there. And there's 2 or 3 other blueberries in here. You can see one, I don't know if you can see that, leaning over across that walk is a blueberry. And here's an elderberry. And there's a couple of other elderberries back in there. Right, there's a fig. And this is a mallow. That's a marshmallow. I grew from seed last year. Doing better this year. They didn't flower last year. It looks like they will this year. This fig died down to the ground and has come back. And behind it is a pecan tree that I keep cutting down. And the same here. A little pecan tree that I keep cutting down. And let me back up here and you'll see this right here. I grew zinnias here last year and I haven't had, well, I've been busy fencing and doing other things, so I haven't gotten the weeds and the grass out of this yet. I suppose I still will plant some zinnias in here. I've got 2 or 3 packs of zinnia seeds, and they're going to grow into a frost anyway, so I can plant those anytime. And then this is just mostly flowers in this area, with some weeds, not very many weeds. I see some. What is this? It's not a weed, it's a flower, but I don't know what kind. And over there, they're tall. It's tall, those are lilies. Those are tiger lilies. I love tiger lilies. My grandmother used to have tiger lilies. And then back in here, that right there in the middle, that's phlox, that's garden phlox. And it is so beautiful when it blooms. Can't wait for that to bloom. So this right in here is basically just garden flowers. So let's walk around and go inside the garden. We walk through one gate, or will be one gate. And then we'll go into what will be another gate. Oh, and right here. Can you see these little plants? These little small plants right here. This is the milkweed, the red milkweed, Asclepias tuberosa. Gorgeous red-orange. And beside me right here is a plant that comes up every year. And this is in the mallow family. And it's called a Turk's cap hibiscus. So it's a flower, and they're beautiful. Haven't flowered yet, but I'll show you when they do. So I'm really happy with these, with the milkweed. I planted those seeds last year and I had no idea that they actually had survived. There's one of them right there. That's a little milkweed. And in with the bee balm. This is the bee balm in front here. And then and behind it is the phlox. Look at this. This phlox is as tall as that fence. Now let's go in here. Oh, Let's go across. And on this side, it's in the shade of a beautiful Natchez crepe myrtle. Let's look up. Really pretty. And hydrangea's blooming. Over there in the corner. I don't get a whole lot of flowers blooming. When this was planted, it wasn't shady because this was a little baby tree, and now it's not. So I get some sparse blooms on these, but I see some daylilies that are getting ready to bloom. And right here in the middle, that's a offshoot of this crepe myrtle that I need to cut off. Daylily is looking very sad. It was pretty this morning. And here's another daylily that has been eaten by something. And back in here, these purple and white flowers are Stokes aster. It's called Stokesia laevis, and it's a wildflower. And more phlox. And here's my front door. Let's go in here. Arbor that I built when I first moved here. My husband had built me an arbor in the house in Memphis, and I wanted one, and when I moved here I built one. It wasn't that hard. I had a little bit of help, but I did most of it. Okay. Oh my goodness, these are pretty much gone. Okay, y'all. Next morning, I couldn't let this go with this ugly, dying daylily on here when I knew the next morning, today, the bud behind it was going to open. So here it is. Isn't this thing gorgeous? I bought this plant from Oaks Daylilies in Tennessee. And Oaks, I think it must be up near Knoxville, because this daylily variety is named something Vols, Go Vols perhaps, I can't remember, after UT Knoxville. University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So it looks more red than orange, but when I bought it, the description said it was orange, a deep orange. Well, maybe it is. It looks red. It is beautiful. And I also wanted to show you this thing next to it, because I'm sure you saw it in the video and wondered what it was. This thing. Well, right now I'm kind of leaving it as a sculpture. What it is, I had a friend who played in a band, and this was the thing that they used to hang their t-shirts on in the lobby. And he gave it to me, and I hang out plants on it, hanging baskets. But right now it is just a sculpture. So that's my sculpture, and I remember my friend. He passed away a couple of years ago, and this is my way of remembering him. Let me look in here. Look at, there's another one. Oh, this one is broken. There may be enough. It's not dead, but I have a feeling it will be. I might as well take it off and bring it inside. So I will get to enjoy this inside, and maybe some of these buds will open up. Pretty. Okay. I just wanted to show you this, because isn't that thing gorgeous? Look at this. Let me get down in here. And phlox back in here, and this is catnip, and I'm getting ready to plant this celosia. These in the containers I got from Lowe's, and these other ones I got from a friend. She had it last year, and that little container right there is some basil that I planted, basil seeds. It's going to go in here. I'm in the process of cleaning this bed out. Let me show you. It's onions. Those are bunching onions that I've let go to seed. And then right next to them These are the Egyptian walking onions. Look at one of them down here on the ground. The Egyptian walking onion. And you see all this stuff? That's what I'm pulling out. It's everywhere. It just seeded everywhere. Look at this. Now this morning I worked back here in that corner and I got that relatively clean. So I have this much left to do. And I've got to get it done. There's nobody else to do it but me, and there are so many things that need to be done. I just have to do it when I can and do as little as I can or as much as I can in one day. Now, this is a trellis. See this? This is not part of the fence. I did use leftover fencing. This was 6-foot fencing. But I put up from the trees that I cut down earlier in the year, I put up 3 vertical posts and then 1 horizontal post. And then used staples. Like that. And stapled the fencing onto it. And it's attached over there to the fence post, to the gate post. And down here on the ground, since I just finished that last week, I have just planted, these are rattlesnake beans. And where other people are already picking the rattlesnake beans, mine are just coming up. First set of true leaves on here. And then behind this are peppers and tomatoes. And I have not gotten the tomatoes staked yet. Here's a really wonderful mint. Gorgeous mint. And then in here, there's some more basil and thyme and oregano. And in this container right here is an amaranth that's Love Lies Bleeding. And then in this pot, lots of stuff, but down in here, these are muscadines. From muscadines that I gathered from a friend's garden last year. And this right here, get that out of the way, that's yarrow that I dug up to give to a friend. And these are not, I did not buy these, they just happen to be in these pots. That's one of the squash that I planted, and this one is what? Can't see what it is. 8-ball. That's a zucchini. It's a round zucchini. Looks like the chickens got into this. So I've got several more pots of zucchini to go out. And some petunias. And this area right here is, oh, that mint. I'm digging a lot of it out, but of course, you know how mint is. But there's 2 different kinds of tomatoes and several different kinds of peppers. I've got peppers up this side and tomatoes over here. And you see my labels, what I've done for the labels? You see the silver? You probably can't read on that. But what that is the aluminum tape, HVAC tape. And you can emboss it just like, if you look, quite often you'll go to a garden site and they'll have the copper labels where you can emboss the name of the plants on the copper label and then it's permanent. Well, that's basically what this is, except it's aluminum instead of copper. And it's got a sticky back, and I just stuck it to a board. And in here, so in this area right in here is a few tomatoes. And back in there and several places around. So on this side of the garden is going to be squash. And I've got these other ones planted in those cups to replace the ones that the chickens are killing. Over here are cucumbers. Basically the same idea that I did with the beans, except I used T-post instead of wood post. And there's a mint, pretty mint. And a tomato right there. It's a cherry tomato. And all of this behind here, that's iris. And I started trying to dig that out last spring, and it got ahead of me. I will continue to dig it out a little bit at a time, but look how tall it is. Can you see that? This is 6-foot wire. Well, actually, it's 5-foot wire. 5-foot wire, and they're at least 4 feet tall. And there's another clump of them back over here. I think I'm going to leave this clump in the corner. But this clump in here is going to come out, and I hate to just compost it. But look how it grows. Well, I won't call it invasive because it's not invasive as an invasive plant, but it is an aggressive plant. And it spreads and it grows very, very quickly. So I'm trying to get rid of that. And when I get rid of that, and probably next year, I'll have more room in here to plant. So this is just a small, small garden. I'll get rid of some of probably not get rid of the mint. I will try to get rid of the mint. But no, I will not get rid of the mint. And it's just too wonderful anyway to get rid of. But I wouldn't mind having it on this side of this beam, this border, and around these pots is fine. But I don't want it in my garden itself, so I will work on that. And this area right in here, the chickens have been scattering. This was going to the compost. I've got one bucket of it ready for the compost. The chickens have scattered this stuff. And periodically I find something like this. Family who lived here before me, had children. So that was a toy. And I find Matchbox cars and all kind of things. And more things in here, just storage in the buckets. And this rusted thing right here that you see is actually a grill. It's like they call it a toolbox grill. It's a very, very small grill. And then fire pit that I haven't put up these things yet. But this stuff in here, except for the plastic, will be burned in the next week or so. So here we are. This is just around my little garden area, the area that I'm fencing. And back there in the distance, you can see by my clothes, that's where the tomatoes are, and I'll show you that another day. Here's one of my little babies. Is she beautiful? But this is what I'm trying to stop. Sweet chickens. And she's a pretty one. So there we are. So there's computers. Not computers. There's cucumbers here, zucchini, and yellow squash over here. Peppers, tomatoes, and flowers mostly over there with some onions. And over here on this side, I forgot to show you, by the house. Number one, I've cut down my gardenia bush. It just wasn't doing well, so I cut it down a lot. Probably next year I'll cut it down some more, maybe even to the ground, see if it'll come back. Wasn't happy. And in this area right here, these are eggplant. And back in this area, which I'm cleaning out, is another yellow squash. It's called lemon squash. And those did beautifully last year, so I decided to separate them from the other squashes this year because they grew better than any of the other ones. And the rest of this is stuff that needs to be cleaned out. Again, there's mint. This is mint that was here when I moved, and it's not quite as good as the other spearmint I've got. It is a spearmint. And this right here, this little tree, that's one of the ashes. It's a green ash. And behind that, it's blackberry. It's got to come out. Some grass and more of the wild lettuce. And I don't know what that weed is, but it's a weed. So this is just. There's only me. There's only so much time to do it. And I get out here and work for a couple of hours in the morning before it gets too hot, and then I have to go in. So there we go. Here's my messy garden. But it's getting better. when I finish weeding this part right in here, it will look like this part over in here. But this is what happens when there's only one person to do it. Like Nina, Southern Ark Homestead. Nina is also a single woman, and she's trying to do it all by herself, and she's doing a really good job. So this area in here is going to be cleaned out. There's some flowers back in here. But this is also going to be my herb garden. I've got the different basils that I'm going to put in here. I've got oregano started. I've got thyme started. I've got rosemary on the other side, and that's okay. Rosemary can stay over there. I didn't show you over down here. Amongst all this stuff. The blueberry. This is some more yarrow. And I divided the part that was in here, looked like that, and I've divided it and separated it a little bit, spaced it out some. So this is going to be, you know, there's not a lot left to do right in here, so I'm happy with this. And this stuff really doesn't take very long. See this? You see the little pink flowers on it? I forget what you call that. Thimbleweed? I can't remember what it's called. But it's a persicaria. And it just is great, goes crazy. And it's just everywhere. And it takes a lot of hand digging because there's other things planted among it. I can't get in there with a tiller to till this up because, number one, here's one of the blueberry bushes. There's my bee balm. And look up here. Do you see this gorgeous daylily? Let me show you. Let me walk around here.
Weeds come out when you least expecting it and celebrate.
That's what I pulled up this morning. Look at that. Beautiful red spider daylily. And in here, some gladiolas that are just starting to bloom. Little packages of 25 gladiola bulbs that are in front of the dollar store. I succumbed last year and I planted a package of the 25 gladiola bulbs, and that's where they are. Other plants, other flowers. I got stocky that is finished blooming, and I am deadheading that. Keep it from going to seed too bad. And so I've cleaned out this area right back in here for the most part. Still have some more to do. And I've got the rest of this to do. It's a little disheartening. And look at these. Look at the babies. Baby beans. These are rattlesnake beans. These are going to be my beans all along this fence, all along this trellis. And in another few weeks, it's going to be beautiful.
Clouds on the horizon and a chill on the breeze.
It's actually kind of beautiful now.
We're alone here, but don't you be scared. I've got a calloused hand, a farmer's tan, and I'm happy to share. You and I'll both get by. Just promise you won't stray. All that I need is some dirt and a seed, and I will feed you till the summer blows away. Little tomcat, don't be afraid when there's a stirring in the meadow or a noise in the shade. I'll defend you and lead you from harm if you should find yourself in peril, I will guard you in my arms. You and I will both get by. Just promise you won't stray. All that I need is some dirt and a seed, and
Lester.
I will feed you till the
Hey, Lester.
summer blows away.
Hey, Lester. Hey, Lester. Hey, buddy.
I've seen people come and depart. With everyone there's a start and there's an end. I'm sick and tired of failed desire. What I really need is just a friend. Little tomcat, don't let me down, 'cause I have spent so long forsaken in this lonely old town. You don't judge me.
But that's the way it always is. You know, there's always something that has to be done. And it just always has to be done. You just got to keep after it. It is always something, but that's okay. That's what life is all about. It's always something. So bye, y'all. See y'all next time.
All that I need is some dirt and a seed, and I will feed you till the summer blows away. All that I need is some dirt and a seed, and I will feed you till the summer blows